Cool. Okay, we're recording. So, yay! In this really weird time, obviously. So episode 5? No, episode 7. Season 5.
Episode 7.
I do this every time, don't I? Okay, so season 5, episode 7, The Ballad of Roger Mac.
Oh, we knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting it this soon.
No, I wasn't either. I was expecting more like towards the end of the season, which it's kind of towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw the title, The Ballad of Roger Mac. I was like, I wonder. And then the title card came through and something happened and they all go to Hillsborough and I'm like, hang on a second. Is this about to be Alamance? And then like throughout the whole thing, I'm like, shit, it's going to be Alamance. Shit.
It's not what I was expecting either. I mean, so they say they usually have a big battle scene at least once in a season, and this was the big battle scene, and I'm like, well, then why did they choose to do it in the middle?
I know,
which is kind of weird. Usually it's a culmination, so I wonder what they're building to right now.
I feel like we should give a spoiler alert first of all before we get started, because
pardon, I'm not sick. I have allergies. Okay? Yes, I do.
So I feel like spoiler alert, we need to say it very well might be that we slip up and say what happens, because this episode ends on a cliffhanger. I have looked forward just to make sure, and Flip, what's his name?
Roger?
Rick Rankin is listed in future episodes as an actor, so they're not.
But it could be flashback, really.
It could be. But spoiler: if you haven't read the books, stop now. Don't watch this. So we know he lives. But yeah. Where are they going? Because, so over the course of this season so far, they keep doing little things that are from the Breath of Snow and Ashes, which is the next book. And we talked about locusts in the last episode. And so that's from A Breath of Snow and Ashes. Yeah. So I wonder if they're merging Fiery Cross and Breath of Snow and Ashes this season.
But there's so much in the Breath of Snow and Ashes.
There is, but I still wonder.
So if we get Malva in the next few episodes, I'm going to be really upset.
I don't know that we're going to get Malva, but I think we might get the house burning. That would be like the worst.
Well, because that's what happens at the end of Breath of Snow and Ashes.
Yeah, but you know how a couple episodes ago they sort of reminded you that Bree has said
the house is going to burn.
The house is going to burn. Yeah. Okay, so they're reminding you that is going to happen.
So she hasn't made the anesthesia yet.
No,
which
the
is
ether.
How the house, the ether. She's not made the ether yet, which is how it burns.
Yeah.
And she's not. And we have no Malva, and IMDb still shows season 6.
Yeah, it still shows season 6, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a theory because I am wondering.
No, it's a good theory.
What's happening here? But anyway,
I don't like that theory, but it's possible. It's very, very possible.
But anyway, about this episode.
Yes. This episode.
Last episode, I was like, okay, so I'm expecting the next one to be good, and I was right. It's been every other one so far for this season, and this one was really, really good. Heartbreaking, but done really, really
well. Yes, absolutely. I thought that, first of all, you got, so it is plot. This one was plot, but it also is set up, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is really good when you're just sticking with plot. It leaves you with wanting something more, which is what the episode in Brownsville didn't give you. Where they were just in Brownsville. You just got plot, and then you could have ended it there, and it made no difference.
Yeah.
What we needed was the cliffhanger. What we needed was looking forward to Jamie's grief. Murtagh. Oh, Murtagh. Ooh, that was hard.
Well, so was it, oh gosh, now I'm losing track. Was it last episode where he and Jocasta said their goodbyes? And
Yes.
in the back of my mind, I was like, they are preparing him to die.
Yes.
This is what's going to happen. He's going to die. And then at the beginning of the episode, and with Roger going to tell him, you should not do this, I was like, he's going to die.
He's going to die.
He's going to die. He's going to die. And then it happens.
I know, tears. It was ugly cry.
It was totally ugly cry. Yeah. Oh gosh.
So here you get the scene. So what they did when they removed Murtagh from dying on the battlefield in Culloden is you missed his dying scene. And
and that emotional kind of
connection that Jayme has. And so they brought it back, but they brought it back here. And they brought it back with him saving Jayme. Oh my God. It was just really well written. That was a beautiful sacrifice moment.
Oh, the shock of how they did that. It was, so this episode was written by Tony Graphia. I mean, I on the whole really like what she does. She really treats the story really well.
She gives it heart. She absolutely does. And this one had just heart in spades. The coat, the wearing of the coat.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I just wrote in caps in my notes, Jayme in a red coat, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Oh my gosh. I mean,
so
they
released some about this.
Yeah, they released some photos and stuff online of what he looks like in it, and you knew that was going to happen, but shit.
Yes, but so here's the thing. So I listened to the after story, that this is why we did this, and they were the behind the scenes thing, and they have been since the beginning of the season, or even into the last season, debating whether or not to put Jayme in the red coat.
Yeah.
Should we? Would he wear a red coat? Would he not wear a red coat? What would we do? He needs to be in a red coat. And they played with maybe him not doing it, but then somebody came up with the idea that he would be made to.
Yeah.
And that's what stuck. Yeah. And it was a good choice. It was a really good choice of putting him in a really nasty position. So not only is he embarrassed in front of his entire regiment, and a lot of his men and farmers in his region are killed because General Tryon has got to, allay his ego.
Yeah.
But his godfather gets killed. So this is a huge setup for revenge. Yeah. This is a huge setup for, I am not going back to you, General Tryon. Yeah. This is a huge setup for that. And it's a good setup, particularly in the end when he throws the thing on the ground and says, basically, I have paid my debt. We're done.
Yeah. So a couple things about that. When he said, I've paid my debt, I'm like, well,
not really.
No. Like you have given your allegiance. Just because you said I'm not going to give my allegiance anymore doesn't mean that so the debt's not paid, right? The other thing that I wondered about is knowing, so Murtagh's died. He's said I'm done, knowing full well he's about to find Roger, and so it was almost did he do that too soon? As far as how a story is told, is it did the Roger bit, did him giving up on things lose its impact a bit by then kind of being usurped by them finding Roger? Would it have made more sense narratively? And you're the screenwriter here, so tell me if this makes sense or not. If he'd thrown everything when it found out, not just Tryon didn't know that Murtagh was his godfather, but he knows that Roger is his son-in-law, and so would it have made more sense? I'm just sitting there going, Jayme's, and I wrote on my notes, Jayme separates from Tryon before he's even found out about Roger. Why, question mark kind of thing. And so it just made me wonder narratively. I know they wanted to end in a cliffhanger, but whether or not it would have made more sense to do it next episode, not this one.
So it's not really a cliffhanger necessarily, right? If you don't know the story, he's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't know the story, he's dead. So
that's true.
This is, rather than this being a cliffhanger, I think of it more of the final shoe just dropped.
Yeah.
You are that you are not expecting this.
Yeah.
That the death of Murtagh is incredibly scary.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying and it's surprising, and he dies, and of course Jayme would then throw down his jacket.
Of course he would. That makes complete sense.
That makes perfect sense. That's logical.
That's true.
But the moment that you see Bree standing at the edge of the wood looking for Roger and he hasn't returned, that's when you go, oh shit, this isn't over. So this is like a Game of Thrones moment. It's like you think the bad thing just happened. No.
It's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get worse because the next thing you're gonna see is Roger Mac hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
And he's gonna appear dead.
Yeah.
They're gonna think he's dead. So I think as far as screenwriting is concerned and storytelling is concerned, that's the one that's, I mean, you've already been stabbed in the heart. Well, they're just going to now rip out your liver. So this is all going to happen at and you're not going to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So that's the horror of war. And that's that's the thing that he kept saying, Alamance, we're going to win. It's going to be okay. Hardly anybody dies.
But still some people died. Yeah.
Except it's the people that you didn't want to die do die.
Yep.
So, and the things that Jayme said at the beginning of this, and even going back to season 2, he's like, with Preston Pans, she's like, all I know is that we win.
Yeah.
And he's like, but do you know who dies? And she's like, no, this was just an asterisk in history. And he's like, well, it matters to that one.
Yeah.
So, and it mattered this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Claire even refers to Preston Pans.
Yes.
And so,
and we knew, I mean, because Angus dies in Preston Pans, and it's the brutality of war and the cost, and so that they do that in that particular episode, in Preston Pans episode, to show you that, because he doesn't actually die there; he dies at Culloden, but they do it to kind of make you go, oh wait, things are coming, and it's a foreshadowing, and just even Roger's death was the culmination of this, because this is the Ballad of Roger Mac.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's been trying to, I don't know what, he's been trying to fit in, and he didn't. And he found himself in the wrong place, which, can I just say, Graham McTavish.
As Buccleigh, I saw that, I was like, hang on a second. He looks a lot like Dougal. and then of course I paused, went to IMDb. It's Graham McTavish.
Graham McTavish.
So another question, is he coming back as Buccleigh, or are they not? Are they going? I mean, because it makes sense. Buccleigh is Dougal and Galus' son, so it makes complete sense that he looks like Graham McTavish or Dougal.
Of course.
But now then I'm kind of like, okay, so are we going to, because Buccleigh in the books at least continues to be a recurring character.
Well, he's got to come back. He's got to come back, because they face Buccleigh about what he did, and Jayme, I think, almost kills him or something. So he,
I can't remember. I need to go back.
I need to go back and take a look at that. But yes, Graham McTavish has to come back
in a wig,
in a wig, and with a different nose, and they totally made him up, and he's got the same bad temper. He's got it's perfect.
It was great.
Perfect. And they kept it a secret. They really kept it a secret.
They did.
And they were very proud of themselves and the behind the scenes for keeping that a secret. It was just, so they had thought about this back in last season, because they knew that they were going to be doing season 5.
Yeah.
And they thought, maybe we should. And then they said it got lost. And then when they were casting and writing this season, somebody contacted them and they said, what do you think about bringing back Graham McTavish? And they went, yep, that's exactly what we had thought about doing. And it was like it finally came full circle.
Yeah.
It was like and they talked about Dougal, so they did the whole
so Jayme's prayer in the water, we got that. So as far as not, I guess, Easter eggs, but as far as those of us who love the books, and Tony Graphia is really good at this, right? Of kind of getting the emotional scenes from the books.
Yeah,
so we get Jayme praying, and calling to Dougal and his former, because in the books he's also calling to Murtagh, but Murtagh of course isn't yet dead, and so he's not. And Claire watching him, and that, which we've talked about in the podcast episodes, is kind of Jayme's prayer life and the way in which he evokes sort of Celtic spirituality. The other thing is him taking stock on his 50th birthday. Which, as I'm sitting there going, oh, this is straight from the book. This is beautiful.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite scenes of him talking about it with her. It's just it, and I'm so glad she wrote that in there, because it's not really action packed.
No, but it says so much.
It's a connection, and it's the connection that we need to find out his interior life. Yeah, and that was really well done by her.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was funny. I meant to go back and look and just check the timings of it, but Claire doing the Marilyn Monroe happy birthday thing, I was like, so she went back and when? So what, Marilyn Monroe did that and when? Yes. Like, I meant to go back and look at dates and stuff just so.
She did. She went back in 1968. Marilyn Monroe did that.
Had already done that. Like,
well, she had done that in the Kennedy regime.
Yeah,
in
I just
the
couldn't
Kennedy,
remember what the years of the Kennedy regime were.
1960 to 1963. Whenever.
Okay, we're good. Yeah. So that's all part of Claire's own cultural memory, which I thought was a really nice play as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was beautiful. And Jayme and Claire's reaction. So Jayme does ultimately pray to somebody after Murtagh dies, and I'd like to think that it is Murtagh, because he kneels and he goes, help me with this, help me. And I don't know if he's praying to Dougal, or if he's praying to Murtagh, or if he's praying to his mother, or if he's praying to God. But it's a beautiful scene. And really well done, because you're like, wait a minute, isn't he going to break down? He can't break down in front of Tryon, because then Tryon will know. The fact that he even brought him back to the camp, it was a real risk.
Well, I mean, I can see. So a couple notes I made. Jayme's belief in Claire, that he would be able to heal him, even though he knew he was dead.
Of course.
And then Jayme's unbelief in Murtagh's death. So even though he knows he's dead, he's hoping he's not, right? So he doesn't want to face the truth, and yet he's desperately hoping that Claire's going to be able to do something about it. And then I was just thinking, okay, so but if he did, even if he was like deep down knew he was dead, he still would bring his body. He still would find some way of being able to bury him at the ridge or something, surely, rather than just leave him in the middle of the woods to be eaten by wild animals.
But what he could have done was he could have directed his men to take him back to the ridge.
That's true.
But he did bring him to Claire.
Yeah.
And this is a good setup, of course, for the next episode, when they do take down.
Where they're going to raise Roger from the dead.
From the dead. Yeah. Claire, it can do something for Roger.
Yeah.
And it still comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And I don't look forward to the next several episodes, because this is hard.
Yeah. So somebody I saw on Facebook, I know we're probably getting close to time, but I saw on Facebook somebody was saying, oh, I'm really glad her syringe has been busted, because that will mean we have the snake bite.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, okay, so now while I was like, what about the locusts last episode? Now I'm like, okay, now I see why they did that, because Roger, right?
Right.
And so now I'm just thinking in future, how the episodes are going to play out, and how this is going to end, which, I guess we kind of started talking about, is if we get snakebite, then that's going to come soon, because this is episode 7 and there's 13. So Roger's got to do some healing to then get to
the snakebite, so he can talk. Mm-hmm. And I think he would then be talking from a very different place, because the snake bite happens before Roger is injured. If I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so. I meant to look it up, but I forgot.
And so this is going to put a little more pathos in Roger for Jayme, and I think that the conversation will be even deeper. Roger hasn't found his stride, but he does he never finds his stride in the books. He never does.
That's true. Bless him. He is this tragic character, which is why I love him. Yeah.
When he finally gets a little bit of a stride in Breath of Snow and Ashes, he has to go back.
I have to go.
And so he loses it again. And so this is he's one of the questioning characters like Ian, that always something seems to be in conflict in their lives. In the show, he does hit a stride. He hits his stride with the locust, and which is, you know, an odd choice for it, but they chose to do it that way. And now he's going to be lost again.
But they also needed, for those who haven't read the books, they also needed them to buy into him as a character, to care about what happens to him, to see the pain that it's going to cause the community. So
what they do
I see why they've made the choices they've made. Yeah.
What they've done in the books for that has had him singing a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the entertainment for the entire area. He is the person they go to raise the emotions for Jayme, to say, you need to follow me. He looks to Roger in the books all the time to not just entertain. It's more than that.
To be the Pied Piper almost.
That's exactly what it is. Again, I'm not sick. This is an awkward time to have allergies.
Blessings on you, my child.
I take them. I hope my sins are absolved.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it was, this was a particularly good episode, and I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to seeing Buccleigh again. And I mean, I don't know if they ever are going to go beyond season 6. But I would love to see them.
I hope so, but yeah, we'll see.
I'm really kind of up in the air about whether or not they're going to, because this year I think that they've not really hit their stride as far as writing is concerned. They could have done better. But I'm hoping that they do go beyond this. And if they do, then I'm looking forward to seeing Graham McTavish as Buccleigh, because Buccleigh becomes a major player in book 8.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we shall see.
Yes, we shall.
And if he does, we'll be here talking about it. So
yes, we will.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Hope you guys are all well, all safe, and we will see you next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Take care.